Welcome back to another episode of The Daily Threat, your trusted source for the latest cybersecurity news and insights. Today we have a jam-packed episode for you. We'll be diving deep into some alarming cyberattacks that have recently made headlines. Our first story takes us to a new threat intelligence report that reveals the top cyberattacks of the past month. Then, we'll discuss the emergence of a new variant of the notorious Mirai botnet. And finally, we'll uncover the menacing capabilities of a cybercriminal group known as AceCryptor's. Now, let's dive into our first story. Our first story comes from Dark Reading, and it highlights the top cyberattacks revealed in a recently published threat intelligence report. The report sheds light on the most devastating attacks that businesses and organizations have faced in the past month. It serves as a stark reminder of the constant vigilance required in today's digital landscape. The report identifies several attack vectors that have been leveraged by threat actors. One notable attack is the use of ransomware, which continues to be a persistent and lucrative method for cybercriminals. In one instance, a major healthcare organization fell victim to a targeted ransomware attack, resulting in significant operational disruptions and compromised patient data. The attackers gained access through a phishing email that appeared to be from a trusted source, tricking an unsuspecting employee into clicking on a malicious link. Another attack vector highlighted in the report is the exploitation of software vulnerabilities. Cybercriminals have been quick to exploit weaknesses in popular software applications to gain unauthorized access to systems. One such incident involved a multinational financial institution that suffered a data breach due to a vulnerability in their customer relationship management (CRM) software. The attackers exploited this vulnerability to gain access to sensitive customer information, putting the financial institution and its clients at risk. Additionally, the report highlights the rising prevalence of supply chain attacks. Threat actors are increasingly targeting software vendors and service providers to gain access to their customers' networks. These attacks can have far-reaching consequences, as demonstrated by a recent incident where a leading software development company unwittingly distributed a malicious update to thousands of its clients. This allowed the attackers to infiltrate numerous networks simultaneously, leading to data breaches and financial losses. Now, let's discuss the implications of these attacks and the risks they pose to businesses. Ransomware attacks, as we've seen, can cripple organizations, disrupt critical operations, and lead to significant financial losses. The threat of ransomware is ever-evolving, with attackers using increasingly sophisticated techniques to bypass traditional security measures. Exploiting software vulnerabilities presents another significant risk. With the rapid pace of software development, vulnerabilities are bound to arise. It is crucial for organizations to prioritize regular patching and updates to mitigate the risk of exploitation by threat actors. Moreover, implementing robust security measures, such as network segmentation and intrusion detection systems, can help identify and mitigate attacks that exploit software vulnerabilities. Supply chain attacks, though challenging to prevent entirely, require organizations to exercise caution when engaging with third-party vendors. Conducting thorough due diligence, vetting vendors' security practices, and monitoring for any suspicious activities within the supply chain can help mitigate the risk of such attacks. So, what are the best practices and recommendations that businesses should follow to protect themselves? Firstly, employee education and awareness are paramount. Organizations must invest in regular cybersecurity training programs to ensure their employees can recognize and respond to phishing attempts and other social engineering techniques. Secondly, adopting a multi-layered security approach is crucial. This includes robust perimeter defenses, endpoint protection, network monitoring. Let's continue with our recommendations for best practices to defend against these cyberattacks. As I mentioned, adopting a multi-layered security approach is crucial. This includes robust perimeter defenses, endpoint protection, network monitoring, and advanced threat detection systems. By implementing multiple layers of security, organizations can create barriers that make it harder for attackers to infiltrate their networks. Next, regular patching and updates are essential. Organizations must stay proactive in applying patches and updates to their systems and software. This practice ensures that known vulnerabilities are addressed promptly, reducing the likelihood of exploitation by threat actors. Furthermore, data backup and recovery strategies play a vital role in mitigating the impact of ransomware attacks. Regularly backing up critical data and storing it in secure, off-site locations can help organizations restore their systems and minimize data loss in the event of an attack. It is crucial to test these backups regularly to ensure their integrity and reliability. Strong access controls and privileged account management are also fundamental. Implementing least privilege principles ensures that users have only the necessary access privileges to perform their jobs, limiting the potential damage that can be caused by a compromised account. Additionally, enforcing multi-factor authentication (MFA) adds an extra layer of security, making it harder for attackers to gain unauthorized access. Another critical aspect is continuous monitoring and threat intelligence. Organizations should invest in security solutions that provide real-time monitoring of network activities, enabling the early detection of suspicious behavior or indicators of compromise. Leveraging threat intelligence feeds and sharing information with industry peers can also help organizations stay updated on the latest attack techniques and patterns. Lastly, but certainly not least, fostering a culture of cybersecurity within the organization is crucial. This means creating a security-minded environment where all employees understand their role in maintaining a secure network. Regularly communicating security policies and best practices, conducting internal security assessments, and rewarding good security practices can go a long way in strengthening the overall security posture of an organization. Now, let's move on to our second story of the day, which revolves around a new variant of the Mirai botnet. According to an article by InfoSecurity magazine, security researchers have identified a resurgence of Mirai botnet activity, this time with a new and more sophisticated variant. For those unfamiliar with Mirai, it is a notorious malware that primarily targets Internet of Things (IoT) devices such as routers, cameras, and smart home devices. Once compromised, these devices become part of a botnet army, which can be used for various malicious activities, including distributed denial of service (DDoS) attacks. The new Mirai variant introduces enhanced evasion techniques, making it even more challenging to detect and mitigate. It utilizes polymorphic code, which allows it to mutate and change its characteristics to evade detection by traditional security solutions. This poses a significant risk, as the botnet can grow in size and launch devastating DDoS attacks, disrupting online services and overwhelming targeted networks. To make matters worse, this new variant of Mirai has shown an increased targeting of critical infrastructure, such as energy grids and transportation systems. The potential consequences of successful attacks on such infrastructure are far-reaching and could result in widespread disruption and even pose risks to public safety. So, what can organizations do to protect themselves against Mirai and similar botnet threats? First and foremost, securing IoT devices is paramount. Changing default passwords, disabling unnecessary services, and keeping devices up to date with the latest firmware and security patches are essential steps. It is also crucial to segment IoT devices from critical network infrastructure to minimize the potential impact of compromised devices. Network traffic monitoring and anomaly detection can help identify suspicious activities associated with Mirai botnets. Implementing DDoS mitigation services or solutions can provide an additional layer of protection by identifying and filtering out malicious traffic during an attack. Collaborating with Internet Service Providers, ISPs, and participating in industry-wide initiatives to share threat intelligence can also help in combating Mirai and similar botnet threats. Furthermore, organizations should consider implementing intrusion prevention systems (IPS) and firewall rules specifically designed to detect and block Mirai-related traffic patterns. These measures can help identify and mitigate potential Mirai infections before they cause significant damage. It's also worth mentioning that manufacturers and developers have a crucial role to play in mitigating the Mirai threat. By prioritizing security in the design and development of IoT devices, implementing strong authentication mechanisms, and regularly releasing security updates, they can help prevent devices from being vulnerable to botnet attacks like Mirai. Finally, let's delve into our last story of the day, which focuses on the cybercriminal group known as AceCryptor. According to a report from the Hacker News, AceCryptor has emerged as a formidable threat, wielding a powerful and sophisticated ransomware strain that has the potential to cause widespread damage. AceCryptor is known for deploying a strain of ransomware that not only encrypts files, but also modifies the file extensions, making it challenging for victims to identify and recover their data. This technique adds an extra layer of complexity and frustration for those affected. What sets AceCryptor apart from other ransomware strains is its advanced evasion techniques. It employs anti-analysis measures to thwart security researchers and sandboxes, making it harder to detect and analyze the ransomware. This increases the likelihood of successful infections and demands for ransom payments. AceCryptor typically spreads through phishing emails, malicious attachments, or compromised websites. Once it infiltrates a system, it moves laterally to other network endpoints, encrypting files and demanding a ransom in exchange for the decryption key. The group often threatens to leak sensitive data if the ransom demands are not met, adding an additional layer of extortion to their attacks. The risks posed by AceCryptor and similar ransomware strains are significant. The impact of a successful ransomware attack can be catastrophic for organizations, resulting in data loss, financial losses, reputational damage, and operational disruptions. Paying the ransom is not a guarantee of recovering the encrypted data, and it often encourages further attacks. So, what can organizations do to protect themselves against the menace of AceCryptor? First and foremost, maintaining robust email security measures is crucial. Organizations should implement spam filters, use email authentication protocols like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, and train employees to recognize and report phishing attempts and suspicious emails. Regularly backing up critical data and storing it offline or in secure cloud backups is essential for ransomware preparedness. It's important to test the backups periodically to ensure their integrity and effectiveness in restoring data in case of an attack. Implementing endpoint protection solutions that include behavior-based detection and ransomware-specific features can help detect and block ransomware infections. Host-based intrusion detection systems, HIDS, and endpoint detection and response, EDR, solutions can provide additional visibility into endpoint activities and enable rapid response to potential threats. Moreover, network segmentation is a crucial measure to limit the spread of ransomware within an organization's network. By isolating critical systems and segmenting them from less critical ones, the potential impact of an infection can be minimized. Lastly, it is essential to develop and regularly test incident response plans. Being prepared to respond effectively to a ransomware attack can help minimize the damage and facilitate the recovery process. That brings us to the end of today's episode of the Daily Threat. We've explored some alarming cyberattacks, ranging from targeted ransomware attacks to the resurgence of the Mirai botnet and the rise of AceCryptor. Remember, these incidents serve as reminders of the ever-present threats in our digital world and the importance of staying vigilant. By following best practices such as employee education, multi-layered security measures, regular patching and updates, data backup strategies, and fostering a culture of cybersecurity, organizations can strengthen their defenses and mitigate the risks associated with these attacks. To stay updated on the latest cybersecurity news, trends, and best practices, be sure to subscribe to the Daily Threat. Don't miss out on our in-depth analysis and expert insights that will help you stay one step ahead of cyber threats. Thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, stay informed, and remember to prioritize cybersecurity in everything you do. This is the Daily Threat, signing off.